it's Friday, everyone. Congratulations. We're very, very proud of you that you've made it. Just so we're very clear, that guy right there is Rob Hunter. I'm Mike Russell. Rob will be glitching more than Joe Biden at a G7 conference today, but it's okay. He's working on some virtual private network thing that keeps giving him trouble. So he'll be bouncing in and out, but we love him and it's cool. Hopefully, like just happened right there, his face looks really cool when it freezes like that because he looks hard. Looks like he's about to jack someone in jail or something like that. Thanks for hanging out. We love having you here. It is a big day with the Supremes. SCOTUS. June is the time, and y'all know this. June is time when the Supreme Court comes out and announces its rulings, its findings. And I know everybody started freaking out about the abortion pill and losing their minds about that. Here's the deal. Again, I will remind you that the Supreme Court, all 9 of them, their job is to uphold the United States Constitution and allow the nation to kind of run through Congress and just kind of keep them in check, really. So a FDA approved drug, whatever it is, whether you agree with what it does or not, is really not the Supreme Court's purview. Supreme Court is, whatever everybody said was cool is cool. It's nothing in here, in the Constitution. I don't know what amendment says that suspends a state or a doctor or a medical facility or anything from administering any kind of drug. So that's kind of my take on that. It was like a kind of Yawnsville, but Kavanaugh's dissent was essentially, I'm gonna need a few more minutes on this one. Is what he said. Yeah. So, and it's fine if Kavanaugh wants to do what Kavanaugh does. Yeah. What's up, Grizz? What's up, everybody? Rob's kind of glitchy right now, but we're glad he's here. There he is. You're moving around now.
That's good. I'm having some VPN issues. I can't quite figure out how to keep it turned off, even though it says it's turned off. I've signed out of the VPN, so we'll give it a shot. So, bump stocks, huh?
Bump stocks. Well, we'll get back to, actually, we were just on abortion pills, but we'll jump into the bump stocks because what was cool was when you did glitch, it looked like you were totally hard. Like you kind of give one of these, like you were about to, you're about to jack someone in prison.
That's going to be my jacking my computer. Is what I do.
Yeah. We might lose Rob altogether if he just picks the thing up and chucks it out the window. So thanks, Grizz. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, bump stocks are a thing now. So just so we'll rewind here, go back in time to the tragedy that was the Las Vegas shooting, and then President Trump at the time, decided to just say, you know what? I'm going to give a kind of, I don't even know what it was. It was pining to a small portion of the United States that thinks that stripping constitutional amendments away, even when the constitutional amendment ends with the 4 words, shall not be infringed. Okay. But stripping away and infringing on those rights is fine. So he banned bump stocks. And Rob will back me on this. I was very against President Trump banning bump stocks. But Rob understands that I've never used a bump stock. I never planned to use a bump stock. I don't care about bump stocks, whatever. But it was an infringement on the Second Amendment, and I'm glad the Supremes came through with this one.
Well, I don't know much about bump stocks like you, Mike. I've never used one. I've never been around one. I barely understand the purpose of it. So for me, this is just one of those weird issues that I don't know about. I don't necessarily... I don't have a tie to it.
Okay, so but you still care.
Yeah, well, that's kind of, I care, but I'm not sure. I'm still unsure on the purpose of a bump stock. The only way I understand it, and obviously you can help me with this, Mike, is it is for certain individuals that have trouble shooting. Maybe somebody that's disabled. It allows them to go to the range, and no, that's not it at all.
Nope. Now, you're probably talking about braces. That would be the braces of what you're talking about. A bump stock is a useless, crappy attachment. So what this does, and I'm just going to try to just make it as plain as I can here. So it uses the recoil of the firearm to keep resetting on a semi-automatic firearm. So as your finger is in your booger hooks on the bang switch, once it goes bang, it kicks and just keeps it going. Bang, 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 bang. If you keep your finger in the same spot, it is insanely inaccurate. It is just used for funsies. There's no practical or any logical use for it. It's why I've never had one and don't want one. So when they said that the Las Vegas shooter was using that, it's a bunch of nonsense. And Rob and I were during that Las Vegas shooting. Rob and I were at the one radio station that we were at, and I was told very clearly when I came in that morning not to tell the truth because they didn't believe me. They believed the feds. They believed people saying, "Oh, it was a fully automatic." I'm like, no, the cadence is not that of a full auto. It just wasn't. And I could not say that. I was told to not say that on air. And to buy into this whole bump stock bull crap that wasn't even a thing. Because you got to understand, if you're doing that with your finger and it's mounted to your shoulder and there's no accuracy. Zero. It's just basically spray and pray, whatever you want to use. But bump stocks who cares? I just didn't like it because it was an infringement on my Second Amendment rights.
So is this then another example that, going back to what you said, it's the public hype, and because the media didn't want to be honest, because most people in the media have zero idea, any semblance of anything firearm, right?
Yeah,
That's
true.
You don't usually go to Ben Avery outdoor shooting range here in Phoenix, Arizona, and see a bunch of television news anchors hanging around with their ARs,
exactly,
off some caps.
So,
and this is one of the real challenges that I have, Mike, is most of the conversations that we have are very uninformed. They are emotional and reactionary. Matter of fact, I went over a friend's house and we were talking about influencing other people, particularly this election, right? The economy's tough, inflation is tough. And how you influence people is you have to understand where they're at. But understanding where people at doesn't mean that they have all the facts. It means they're emotional about most things. And when emotions get fired up, this is the scare tactics, right? Because there was a mass shooting in Vegas of which we still don't know the motive, which is very strange. Some guy just randomly decides to start shooting from a hotel during a concert. Yeah. And that's that. Okay, great. Awesome. And then we get to ban the bump stocks and its emotion. And then the Supreme Court, the last non-emotional entity that we have, says, great, your emotions got fired up, but there's no compelling constitutional reason that we can actually ban this.
Right, correct. And they also understand those last four words, shall not be infringed. They get it. We've infringed enough on the Second Amendment, and they said that's just absolute nonsense. And he said that President Trump was not within his rights to do that unilaterally, and I agree with him. And by the way, I agree with the Supreme Court most of the time. You just got to look at both. You got to look at the opinions and the dissents. You've got to look at both of them and then see where their heads were. And if you're even nerdier like me, you do your best to catch the audio, because these things are a stream. These arguments are public record, and to catch the questions and the answers from the justices to the attorneys is absolutely fascinating. And you get to find out what's on their mind, not like, oh, that's Sotomayor, oh, that okay, whatever. Just you know, actually, she asked a very intelligent question, and she's on the wrong side of thinking here, and it helps you along with it. But the bump stock thing was just stupid from the word go. And I mean, going back to that, I mean, we know if I were to, I'm not going to, y'all, chill out. Save the comments. If I were to go somewhere and start capping people, the news would have everything on me with a quickness and a motive and some sort of letter, some sort of manifesto. Oh, I hate that as much as I hate the term mastermind. I would have some sort of written something, and they would say that he voted for Trump and this is why he did it, or they, whatever. They'd find something. This dude that capped a lot of people, I have no idea. Well, at least they know, but we don't know. The intelligence community knows everything. Is why we don't know. I think is the rough part. Yeah.
Well, and it just gets back to this bigger issue of trust, and that there is no trust. I know some progressives. I've hung out with a progressive lawmaker. They have the same trust issues with the government that we all do, because there is
even the lawmaker, which is funny.
Exactly right. But I mean, this was the funniest thing when they were doing an affordable housing bill here in the state of Arizona. They were trying to pass one, and they had all these challenges. But that shows that there is a point where the progressives even understand the government gets in the way, because part of the problem why housing is so expensive in the valley is because there's so many regulations. There's so many, You have to have this type of roof and you have to do this. So the government mandated costs add into it. And then it's like hidden information, to go back to this bump stock. If the intelligence community knows what happened or law enforcement does, and they're not telling us, that in and of itself is dangerous, because they, number one, they don't trust us to handle the information. And number two, we don't trust them in return because they're not trusting us with the information.
And think about how people are just, I would say, solidified in their ideologies, that if you think about it. So let's play it out. So if the bozos at CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News make the announcement, breaking news, because everything's breaking news, right? Breaking news. They do it here at a local station, which is just maddening. I'm like, that is not breaking news at all. But thank you. Breaking news. The Las Vegas shooter was a CIA plant. It was brought by Nancy Pelosi to bring on gun control. We would go, yeah. And we'd go, yeah, damn those Democrats for doing that. And we'd vote for Trump, and the other people would say, yeah, good for Nancy for doing that. And we'd vote for the Biden. I mean, it's just, we wouldn't care. I would venture to say, I would bet that we don't even need to know. We've already made up our own minds what happened. Hey, we're probably both right. There's probably some truth in all of it. And we're saying, it's fine. Let's move on. What am I cooking this weekend? Not that stupid casserole that I tried to make last weekend. God. Absolutely terrible.
Got to learn by mistakes. Got to learn by failing. You know
I'm making, I know what I'm doing. No, I'm making, because it's Father's Day, and you know my favorite meal is chicken fried steak. Mm-hmm. I'm making chicken fried bison.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So explain. Okay, this is a good one, because I went out for breakfast recently, and someone got chicken fried steak.
Yeah.
And I've never had it. Is it just, it's fried like chicken and then there's a steak inside?
How have I done this to you?
I don't know.
My pal. My buddy.
Well, it's usually a breakfast food. We don't typically.
Yeah, I don't usually do. I'm doing it for basically dinner. But I mean, no, actually chicken fried steak is what I have for dinner. But chicken fried steak and eggs is what you're thinking is for.
Yeah.
That. But yeah. But it's a tenderized piece of meat, and I mean pounded to all kind of hell. And it's just fried up like chicken. Huh. Just all it is. It's kind of it's ground. How's the best way to put this? The pieces, it looks like ground beef, but it's all attached. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that, and you make the gravy and stuff like that. Don't give me Waffle House.
Combining fried chicken.
The Waffle House, Lynn just said Waffle House, and I wanted to reach through this thing. Dude, no, my chicken fried steak is next level. Chicken fried bison, you can find that garbage at Waffle House. I kid, Lynn. I love me some Waffle House, buddy. Big fan.
I actually went to the Waffle House for the first time. It was like 2 or 3 years ago. I'd never been, and it was awesome. They've got these like hash brown bowls. I'm like, what have I been doing to myself? Missing out on the Waffle House.
Was it sliced, diced, scattered, smothered, and covered? Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My girlfriend was one of her first jobs, but I think she got canned because she was feeding a homeless dude out back.
Oh,
just kept bringing him food.
Oh, that's very
nice. Whatever. Sometimes I wouldn't even feed Waffle. I wouldn't feed Waffle House to a homeless person.
Well, I mean,
I kid. It's fine. They're the number one seller of steak in the nation.
Are they really?
No restaurant chain sells more steak. Even Black Angus, anything you could possibly think of. Nope. Waffle House, steak and eggs, baby. It ain't the best steak and eggs you can ever have. But it's good anyway. But most people don't care about that. Like, oh, we know what happened to the Vegas shooter. We know what happened. Like, really? People, honestly, and so bad people, I would say a good portion of the country, especially the people that just live on social, would go, who? What Vegas shooting you talking about? What Vegas shooting? Jan 6th. We now know Jan 6th. Okay. What are you talking about? Jan 6th. What's that?
But see,
isn't it J6?
Like the narrative, we talk about this a lot, is that everybody's trying to establish a narrative to get you to believe it, because it goes back to my theory that language is contagious. You hear things, it's like nutrition for your brain, what you consume. So the news media in their, I don't want to say what I want to say, but the intelligence level of the media seems to have fallen in the basic parts of the narrative we say are so shallow, but we love to argue and debate about it. And it's not really serving anybody, certainly not serving us as a country. And I think to go back to the bump stock and even the abortion pills, Mike, the narrative of all of that is always the fear tactic, the fear tactic, the fear tactic. Because even I just want to use the bump stop as an example. I had never heard about it until Vegas. I haven't heard about it since.
Truth.
So how safe are you making me by banning a thing that one guy used for nefarious activity?
And he didn't use it. Yeah.
Oh, he didn't even use it.
No. He wouldn't have hit one person at that concert. It's the most. It turns any wonderful firearm, especially the ARs. It turns it, which is, and Rob's seen me use mine. I'm deadly with that damn thing. I've hunted what? They have 4 species so far with the AR. That thing's just accurate as they come. I put a bump stock on it. I'm not going to hit anything. I'm not going to hit anything. There's just zero accuracy. What's up, Bobby? Good to see you again, pal. Yeah, we're doing it virtually every day right here at noon, man. We're just going to do it, man. What's up, Val? Everybody's hanging out. This is all our peeps are here. We love having you here, man. We just really, really, really love that. Just I got the chills right now. I just love having all my people together, and you guys are just always. You guys ride with us. Keep riding with us. Like it, share it, tell everybody about it. Where to find Rob and Mike, because here we are.
We need your
not
help.
Robin, not Rob and Mike. It always sounds like it was Rob and Mike. Like either somebody's robbing me
with a bump stock,
or your name's Robin. It sounds like one person, Robin Michaels. Yeah, no,
that's probably someone's radio name, fake radio name out there.
Oh yeah, and I actually that's news to me. I really haven't stuck to that. No, I just saw Greg asking what we think about Kerry refusing to debate Mark. This game right now, especially when it comes to the Trump down cards, and let's face it, Kerry Lake is a Trump down card. They're playing a game that I hope there's good reason for it, but it's going to be interesting to me to see.
Well, look, I'm just going to flat out say it. I'm just incredibly disappointed in Kerry Lake and how she's conducted herself since she lost the election.
100%.
Even leading
100%.
up to the election, right? She should have won. One of the major mistakes she
handily.
Made, kicking the McCain supporters out, and I don't want your vote. Okay, you don't want to win then. I don't understand the strategy, and I don't love Trump wannabes because there's already one Trump. Trump's already Trump. I don't love all these other people that are trying to kiss his butt and be like him because I like people that be their own person. And I think that Kerry Lake got caught up in the trying to kiss Trump's butt so much that she even annoyed Trump.
Well, I actually heard her on an interview the other day, and I agree with Rob on this, by the way. I've met Kerry, like Kerry. She's a wonderful human being. Don't know what the hell happened to her with this whole election thing. It's because her public facing persona isn't the Kerry I knew and the Kerry I met and talked to, and it just really dug. We've interviewed her. She was fantastic when we interviewed her. She was awesome.
We voted for her.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. And by the way, the whole, what was it? It was Katie Hobbs found like 1,700 votes or something like that. If that margin was that tight, that's your fault.
Yeah, exactly.
You basically went up against an airhead and lost by that many. No, it shouldn't have been that close.
And again, there's always, politics is always about strategy. So in your primary, you have your primary strategy. You appeal to the primary voters, but then you have to broaden out because you have to get independent voters, especially in the state of Arizona, where we have Republican registration slightly ahead of independents. And it's slightly ahead of Democrats. It's just very close.
Yeah.
You have to appeal to independents in order to win in the state of Arizona, particularly in the Valley. And, the Valley is trending Democrat, right? More people are moving in.
It is.
The city's getting bluer. So you have to try to chip away and come up with your path to win, not just by yelling, screaming, and saying everything that Donald Trump says. It doesn't bode well for you as a politician if you're just parroting someone else the whole time.
Right. Exactly. Okay. And by the way, that's why I said I didn't. I'm sorry, guys. That's why I said I didn't hear that about her debating, because I thought you were talking about what am I saying here? Sorry, Mark Kelly. That's what you said, Mark. I didn't know you guys were talking about Lamb. My bad. That didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So Kerry won't debate.
No, she'll get stomped by him. That's why.
Exactly.
Kelly, she could destroy. Kelly, she could literally destroy. The guy is useless
and not a great debater.
No, and his record just sucks. So fine, dude. Yeah, go debate him. I'm my apologies on that one, but yeah, dude, freaking Lamb would just. That's why she's not going to debate him, because Sheriff Lamb would destroy her. Sheriff Lamb would start speaking in Spanish and just absolutely just oh, please.
Well, and he has
God,
leadership experience in dealing with one of the major challenges with the border. He's led a police department and actually done it quite well. And obviously, Mike and I are a little biased on Sheriff Lamb.
No.
Because Sheriff Lamb's invited us. Says, I'll open up the hood. You guys can look at the engine, tinker around. They let us ride on the SWAT trucks during a SWAT raid because they are legitimate.
Yeah.
And they love the Fourth Amendment as much as we do. And they said, we have nothing to hide. Come on in. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to come in and I'm going to look around because I don't really like police. I don't really like, the Fourth Amendment erosion. And they're like, yeah, okay. And if restraint, I love this word, Mike, and this is a Washingtonian principle. Sheriff Lamb has restraint because he has certain tools that the courts have allowed that aren't in congruence with the Fourth Amendment. He doesn't use them.
Nope.
Like no-knock warrants, a perfect example. And our buddy Jim told us how they do it. He says, we don't bust down the door and charge in. We actually knock and we back up. And I'm like,
right.
I love that.
And a lot of that's for their safety as well. But I mean, bias my butt. Damn near man crushing on the guy. He's fantastic. Unfortunately, I'll put it this way. Unfortunately, he's exactly what America needs.
Yes. Exactly.
Here's what I mean by that, because he's probably going to lose to Kerry Lake, and I'm blown away by it. I'm blown away by that. He has everything, the credentials, the history, you said patriot. Hell yeah. The guy is amazing. And Kerry's gone off the rails. Kerry was the name you know. Kerry was the one you trusted. Decades on Channel 10. And we watched her all the time. It's fun to watch her. We watched her all the time. She was it. She
went to one of her rallies up in Cave Creek or something.
It was a good time. It was a damn good rally, too. Until we met Mike Lindell. That guy was off the rails. He was completely off the rails, guys. Look, I understand you feel how you feel about My Pillow and Gaza sheets and all that. With Gaza, is he still calling them Gaza Dream Sheets?
I don't know.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Does he still call them the Gaza? I got to look that up. Is he still?
Hey, look, I sleep on a My Pillow. I'm
not bashing, but I want to know if he's still calling them the Gaza Dream Sheets.
I'll call them the Hamas sheets.
Do something. But Rob and I said, and I know I'm diverting a little bit, but we basically stood with the guy. Said he got 10 minutes with him, so we wanted to get him on tape. We wanted to see what's up, And I think it was like 45 minutes we were with him, just meandering all over the place.
You spoke for in there 4.5.
What stuck out?
That's one question.
Unreal. Yeah, who was monologuing?
I was.
So we got, I'm not kidding. This is, we have it somewhere. Crap. It's got to be on one of our hard drives, buddy. I'm pretty sure I have it. I'm pretty sure I got it. But he was talking about the 3 terabytes of proof that the election was stolen that he had on his person. Where that at, bro? Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway I had from that 45 minutes or however long it was, just meandering back and forth and thinking. And by the way, I was holding the camera. Remember that?
Yes.
My shoulder's still sore. Years later, 2 years. That's later. What happened. I need a shoulder replacement. Now I know what happened. Damn. That and the bump stock. Crap.
Man, you're over 2. Yeah, the bump stock with you, and you talked to Lindell, and it took 4 hours for a 7-minute conversation.
Oh man. Look, okay, so Val, I tell you this: there's some major pushback organized Pinal County against the sheriff. But I will tell you that within his institution of the sheriff's department, he is one of the most respected and admired people there. So he in his bubble, he's fine. And he understands when he's going to run for Senate that he's going to have people like that come against him and organize against him. And he's exactly what the nation needs. Well, exactly.
It's so funny that, Val, you point that out, because it's kind of that narrative thing, right? Because I've been, for some reason, studying information and how it works and how it reaches people and how it influences people, and how false a lot of it is. So that narrative of, we got to rally against the sheriff, go poke holes in him then. Because if you're a progressive and you're worried about injustice and you're worried about police power, find a better example than Pinal County. Yeah. Because Could they improve? Yeah, probably. We all can improve all the time. But as far as what else is out there compared to them, based on what they let us look at and the fact they're like, yeah, let's have Rob and Mike go right along on a SWAT raid for us.
Knowing damn well who Rob is.
Exactly.
And they were like, yeah, bring him in. I'm
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me?
Right. And it convinced me, right? And
Oh.
how many hours have we spent talking to our buddy Jim, who works in that department? And how many questions has he answered about me and how they do it in this court case? And
Yeah.
he's like, this is how we do it. This is where we show restraint. It is a model, Pinal County, on how policing can and should be done. And I will give a shout out to the LT, Lieutenant Chris
What
Lepre,
up, LT?
who is a cop's cop, right? He's
Yep.
the kind of cop you want to be a cop.
You want him on there. I actually sat in a lunch with Rob and the our friend that he's talking about, who's a Pinal County attorney. I looked down. I remember looking at my whole plate. My plate was gone and done. These dudes have not taken a bite. I'm on my third beer, and these guys are just full drinks. I'm like, they won't shut up.
Uh-huh.
But that's the thing. So I mean, if we're gonna talk about Lamb versus Lake, sorry, Carrie, you're God love you, but we need a Sheriff Lamb over your just incessant talking about it was stolen from you.
Yeah, and I
sorry guys, like it's like having, like, if I get my truck stolen, God bless them if they do it. It's got 200,000 miles on it. Do you know I got my center caps? My center caps for my rims got stolen.
Did they?
It's like I rusted holes in these beautiful rims. I'm like, well, crap.
I could sell those.
And like $150 a piece.
Really?
I know. I went and looked at them. I was like, oh, hell no. Rust is fine with me. I rusted a hole right in the fine with me. But if I have my truck stolen, how many cars do I have to go through to stop telling the story about my truck getting stolen? Like, move on, y'all. Like, Rob and I had we in some ways left on own terms. But in other ways, I could say I had afternoons at that radio station stolen from me. And if I come on here and that's all I'm talking about is, oh, that guy's terrible and it was stolen from me and it was this, that, and the other thing. Y'all wouldn't listen to me. So why would we vote for that? Just move on.
Yeah. Well, and this is I'm just going to drop some facts on you here because I interviewed the Maricopa County Recorder, Stephen Richer. And there's a couple things that are important to note about stealing an election, particularly in Maricopa County. It's the most populated part of Arizona. If you're from here, you know that 5 million or so people, give or take. In that 5 million people, there are 11,000 or so different ballot types. There are 300 plus taxing districts. And those little black lines you see on the side of your ballots, they have to do with the taxing district. They have to do with
taxing district.
Yeah, like you think about if you vote for a school override bill, a bond. Like my school district is different from yours. Yeah. And my school district might be different from people half a mile down the street. So there's a ballot for my little slice of the neighborhood, and there's a ballot for that. So in order to quote unquote steal an election, you would have to know all 10,290 or whatever types of ballots and all the taxing districts and know how the computers read that information and where the ballots and the timing and all this other stuff would have to be. So is it possible? Yeah, probably. If you
Dustin Hoffman and Rain Man taught us this is possible, brother.
Yeah.
He can count those suckers. He knows what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean. It's we just don't know that because that's not common knowledge. So when you talk about stolen election, that was a narrative. It's the same thing. And some people stick to the narrative. Some people don't. And that is one of my frustrations with President Trump, honestly, because what happened to the country based on the narrative that he wanted has caused all kinds of challenges and has caused people to dig in and refuse to communicate with anybody else because 30 to 40% of this country thinks that the other side is a criminal. And then 34% of that side thinks your guy's a criminal. So basically we have politics divided by who thinks who's a criminal or corrupt or whatever. So the choice that we get to make is corrupt Biden or corrupt Trump or convicted felon Trump based on the narratives of America.
It's unbelievable.
It is.
Yeah. But it just kind of sticks. And by the way, Greg, you got to respect anyone that says you can ask me anything you want. I don't care. Ask me.
Absolutely.
And
Same
and
with
and,
us.
and doesn't stand up. And Dr. Phil thing, I'm a little concerned about Judge Wapner. I knew where you were going with that, Grizz. The thing is, and again, what Dr. Phil is saying, what Dr. Phil is bringing, I watched an entire piece of that interview where he was going over China buying farmland around military installations in the United States. It's really happening. This is not something that's just nothing, but Dr. Phil is becoming the Mike Lindell of this round. And I don't like that because it's researched, it's fact, it's educated, it's fantastic. He has to watch from falling into that trap of being labeled as a Bannon, being labeled as a Lindell, being labeled as any of Trump's crazy legal team after the last election. But he's got to be careful in that. And I respect Dr. Phil. I respect what he's doing. He has to be careful because people are listening, but they'll stop listening the moment they think he's just straight shilling for one candidate or the other.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at now. It's like you got to pick one and you got to be that on that side. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to my roots here. And I'm just going to say, I don't care who's running the government. The government stinks. The government's not effective. It didn't become effective when Trump was the president. I doubt it will become effective if Trump is the president for 4 more years. Some people have this belief that voting for either one or the other, quite honestly, is going to fix all the problems. I'm like, no, the only person who's going to fix your problems is you. You can't be like, all right, problem solved. Inflation's going to go away. Groceries are going to get more affordable. They might not. I don't know what's built into the structural system of how grocery prices are what they are. But last night I went to Raising Cane's. I love me some chicken fingers. $18. I'm like, dang. $18 for 6 chicken nuggets and some French fries.
I'm gonna say, can I say it?
Yeah.
Cane's is as mid as possible. Cane's is not good chicken. Y'all, seriously, just get you some ketchup, some mayo, and some Worcestershire sauce and some pepper. You make cane sauce. It's that easy. Y'all, not good chicken. I've said it. I've spoken.
We can have a Cane's debate.
No, there's nothing to debate. It's as mid as possible. Like, what would you compare? What would you compare Cane's to? Every chicken, Popeyes has better chicken. Churches has better chicken. KFC has better chicken. Ooh. There's no way that Cane's comes close.
But it's all the chicken finger. There's no bones. It's good. Bang. There you go.
But there's no flavor. They literally don't season the chicken.
Well, yeah, because they want you to do the cane sauce.
Which you can make with everything you have right now in your fridge and not go to Cane's. Cane's and Abel. Check him out. Go. Let's go. Biblical Lynn. I love that. I love that stuff. But Lynn said, don't watch it then. It's not that I'm ducking the interview. The interview was fantastic. Publicly, in this world that we live in right now, I'm saying Dr. Phil needs to walk a line and maybe challenge Trump a little bit. Maybe talk about the bump stock thing. Like, what the hell was that, dude? That's an obvious infringement on the Second Amendment. I mean, banning an accessory. What did that do? Why'd you do it? Challenge so you don't look like I'm just here doing a Trump commercial because no one will. Independence, which we need to win, independence won't buy. Independence will just turn it off.
Well, and I'll give you an example. So Stephen Richer and I, again, the Maricopa County Recorder, the guy that's in charge of elections in Maricopa County, I know him a little bit. I hung out with him one time before I did this interview. But I found out something that in 2019, he wrote an analysis of the 2018 election. And Mike, you'll love this.
Okay.
Because Adrian Fontes.
Oh, my favorite.
Secretary of State. He was the Maricopa County Recorder. In the 2018 election, there were some allegations that he opened some quote unquote emergency voting centers.
He did.
And only sent out mailers to Democrat households to let them know that, you can go vote in these. And that helped Kyrsten Sinema get elected. So I asked Richer about that report that he wrote. In his answer, and again, right, I'm trying to challenge him. I'm trying to do it in the right way.
Yeah.
And what his answer was, look, if I knew then what I knew now, I would not say the same. I wouldn't say it the same way because it's part of that election stolen narrative.
Yeah.
If you go back to 2016, was Democrats, right? Hillary still says that the election was stolen from her. 2018, Republicans are started pushing that narrative here because Kirsten Sinema beat Martha McSally in that Senate race and was really close. 2020, it just blows up because Trump's in charge. So, in a way, you have to look at this collectively and understand that it's really both sides that only care about winning, not so much about you. And
I wish our side would care about winning a little more, though. But okay, I see what you're saying. Thanks, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate you, buddy. I want to give Jay a big hug. Jay's my guy. But
hype man.
Look, I love me some Jay. But I do. I'll go back to this Fontes thing. Yes, I will. Yes, Adrian Fontes opened emergency voting centers. Remember, because it was after there were long lines prior to, and it was Secretary of State. That's how Michelle Reagan got basically booted from office, which she was probably the best thing that happened to small business in our state since Janet Napolitano. And yes, I will say that Janet Napolitano, huge pro small business governor, and she got ousted for it. Adrian Fontes, Captain Socialist himself, saw the opportunity and did it. Oh, he's a devout socialist. I don't want anyone to even don't even make two thoughts about that. The man is a socialist. He espouses the benefits of socialism. He's a moron. And it's funny. It's just a funny little story. So I actually am the vice president of an organization called Wildlife for Tomorrow. We're the fundraising arm for Game and Fish. And y'all know me is kind of what I do. I got my Teddy Roosevelt shirt on too.
Nice.
But there was one of the commissioners for Game and Fish was up for kind of renewal of his 5-year volunteer term. And that's very rare because usually 5 years of that, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's a commitment. They're not paid. It's all volunteer. So they said, hey, listen, as VP of Wildlife for Tomorrow, can you write the governor a letter of recommendation? I said, if Katie Hobbs or any of her team sees Mike Russell on something, that thing goes right to the round file in a minute. Then it happened on something that we needed from Adrian Fontes. And I said, can we just omit me being any part of the organization if we want to get this done?
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest. My conflict of nothing. Conflict of working with bozos like Adrian Fontes.
Well, and but again, that comes down to, how do you not win against those guys? How do you not
word?
And how do you, this is the other thing that I've learned in my life. I'm only in control of me. So if I'm running for election and I don't win, some part of that is me. I'm to blame, at least to a degree. And if the vote margin is going back to the governor's race, 17,000. I don't remember what the Secretary of State's was when Adrian Fontes won. But I'm looking at that 17,000. I'm like, man, all I had to do was get 17,000 people to say yes to me and no to somebody else. What did I do wrong? What was incorrect about my messaging that I can improve and run again? Because that's the way life works. You fail, you learn, and you adjust until you win.
But that's assuming that people that go into electoral politics are sane individuals, Rob, that have the ability to actually self-diagnose a lot of things that have gone wrong in their life and have that in perspective when they surround themselves with an entire staff paid for by us that tells them yes all the time.
Yeah.
It tells them they're right all the time.
And live in a bubble, right? And they keep repeating the same language over and over again. Again, how that becomes contagious, because you almost can convince yourself everyone is on your side when you only talk to people that are on your side. In politics, no one is ever always on your side. We could solve all the healthcare challenges tomorrow. We're like, all right, all we have to do is press this button. And people are like, no, you can't fix all the healthcare problems.
You're going to kill grandma.
We do that. There's always opposition. And you get informed when you talk to the opposition, and then you understand the common grounds and you know how to speak to those people, and you might be able to convince 17,000 people to vote for you. It's really not difficult unless you're a blockhead.
Yeah. But also at the same time, I mean, yeah, it's just, yeah. Whatever. And here's the deal. When we talk about voting and stuff, something that kind of has been irking me lately. That the thought that if somebody were to vote for RFK Jr., that it somehow, and both sides will say this, oh, you vote for them, that takes a vote away from Biden. You vote for them, takes a vote away from Trump. No, it doesn't take a vote away from anybody. It's a vote cast by an individual as a citizen of the United States of America. That's one of the 3 things they have to do: pay your taxes, vote, and participate in the jury system. That's all you have to do to be an American. And it's their vote. It's like every pundit you ask is going to have a different opinion on who that's going to take a vote away from. Vote who you want for. If you want to vote for Mike Russell and Rob Hunter, do it. It's a damn good vote. I'm a little fired up on a Friday.
I like it.
A little amped up.
It's because you were doing on the Go Show all the animals that eat humans.
They weren't eating humans. There was one dude out there setting off a Roman candle that shoots all the fireworks, and a dog grabbed it and just went arsenal on everybody in the crowd. Just like the little Chihuahua just running, just making it happen. Just open fire on people.
Man. It's always the Chihuahuas.
Damn Chihuahuas, man.
Small dogs.
No, it's not Chihuahuas. I'm sorry, it was a Dachshund. It's a wiener dog.
Oh, even better.
Even funnier.
Yep.
By the way, are hunting dogs. They were actually bred. The reason why they're long, they're bred to go into holes.
Ah.
So you can squeeze into holes and go get things.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, okay. So let's ask this. So Grizz wants to know who's the pres, who's the VP on the Russell Hunter ticket.
Why don't we just do like 2 years and we'll switch?
I like that plan.
2 years.
Well, I got to kill you then. If you start, one of us has to kill the other one.
I'm going to retire, be the vice president.
Rob is by far the most the level-headed one in the group, so he would be far better. I would be in his ear. He does trust his big bro Mike Russell. He does, so I'd definitely be in his ear. But I'd be a better chief of staff position than I would VP. But I would soak that up. The observatory, the Air Force 2. I'd be celebrating that stuff. If like, Mike, can you just stop traveling to hunting destinations? Why? It worked for Justice. It worked for
Interior Secretary. Like, come on, man.
It worked for Antonin until he was jacked.
Well,
so yeah. Mm-hmm. At a hunting ranch too. That's the way I want to go. Everybody, just so we're clear, it was very clear. I want to be at a very high-end hunting ranch, and then if anybody needs to cat me there, please. After some nice tequila, it'd be fantastic.
A nice tequila and a nice fresh meal of game meat.
Oh, I'm telling you, there's a guy I'm actually following on Instagram that is rating every death sentence meal in the United States.
That's funny.
Like the final meal. Yeah, and he cooks it, and they go through it, and he eats it, and he's like, okay, this is kind of C-level tier, third tier kind of deal, and there's some that are just off the rails. And what would you have as your last meal?
Pizza.
Yeah, good call.
Ice cream.
What kind of ice cream?
Have room for a burger. I might have like a slice of pizza, a burger, and some ice cream.
Oh, throw the kitchen sink at it.
Yeah, cookies and cream probably would be ice cream. Maybe cookie dough. Maybe cookies and cream and cookie dough. I mean, it's the last meal. It's the last time you get to taste it.
Yeah.
And you got to have room for at least one peanut butter cup at the end.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's good to know. Damn. Yeah, but I would go buffet like that. There'd be the ribeye and the tri-tip and the burger and they'd be really upset because I'm throwing up as they're strapping me to the gurney.
Hey, look, if you're going to go, you got to go. You're going to I'm going to eat well and it's going to be great.
Yeah. Last meals are a thing. Like, actually, it's a hell of a conversation starter. If you ask somebody what their last meal would be if they had to say, not the whole, if you're stuck on an island, what CD would you bring from what band? No. If you got one choice, your last meal, what would it be? That's what I want.
Well, and
it actually shows in the comments. What would your last meal be? This is, I would, if you were going right to the chamber. And that's the good old days, the gas chamber and old Sparky and the electric chair. I was a guillotine, bring it back. Firing squad, I'm all about it. I don't like this. I don't like this sissy little needle thing. And as I forget, I go to sleep. Yeah, whatever.
Well, but I mean, this is something we all face. We all have a last meal. Sometimes we get to pick it. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's going to happen. Sometimes you don't. But what if you thought about every meal as your last meal? If you're like, I'm going to really sit and enjoy this and act like it is, and just really savor all that flavor and that taste.
See, that's why he's the president. I'm the vice president. See, he goes deep like that. I'm like, what do I want to eat? Like Neanderthal. And he's like, oh, yeah. How about we just take our time, Mike, and think things out? I'm like, shut up. I'm eating pizza.
Well, this is, and we can both attest to this as we're now out on our own building businesses. It's a patient process.
Yeah.
I understand now why people I don't want to do this. I'm just going to stay working for corporate America because, you got to come up with a lead magnet and you got to make that and you got to cold outreach people and sell them your communication services, or Mike's doing his, Go Show and his social media and all these things. You got to like build all that stuff. And you're like, you can't just do this. So I get it. It's a challenge. It's fun sometimes, but stopping and enjoying and being present is helpful in those moments. Now, I'm going to try that.
Did you see what Grizz put here? Not Mike's casserole. That's a smart move. It's a brilliant move.
So he did pick halibut, which is an interesting choice.
Yeah, okay, right. Prime rib lobster. Perry's ice cream. All right, John. Okay. Not mad at that program at all, man. Yeah. Like I said, though, it'd be a huge
steak.
Meal.
Is that from the Trump Ranch, the huge steak?
Greatest steak in history, okay? Greatest steak we're ever going to have. Yeah.
I seriously, what were you? No, Grizz, we don't have to kill me to get there, dude. It's okay. we can find cooler ways to go to death row.
Yeah. That's what maybe we should have. Like, this could be an interesting concept. A last meal buffet, like a potluck. Yeah. Everybody brings like one thing.
The one thing that they would want everyone else to have as their last meal. Mm-hmm. And I know, Grizz, not my casserole. I know. But yeah, so what would we want? I like that. Like, what's your go-to? What's the one thing you could cook that someone would take their last bite and go, you know what? Damn it. I'm going on that one. And I think this brings up another great conversation. Maybe we save it for Monday. I don't know what we want to do with it, Rob. But look, I am a huge fan of Dr. Kevorkian. Huge. Die with dignity laws should be a thing. I think you should be able to go whenever the hell you want to go. And if it's medically assisted and you get to party it up on your way out, we don't get to choose our last meal. In some ways we do, and we can. If I am a constant bother and financial burden to my family and I'm in constant pain, give me my ribeye, give me my IPAs, and I'm off.
I'm curious if there's a line, because I just read a story recently. I don't remember if it was Netherlands. It's one of those Scandinavian or European countries that allows Dr. Kevorkian types to come in and kill you ethically. It was a 29-year-old woman who was depressed and didn't want to live anymore. And I'm like, okay, on one hand, she could take her own life many different ways. And if she's hell-bent on doing that, should she be free to say, well, as opposed to doing something more drastic, I'm going to get put to sleep?
Yeah.
And that's my choice. And that's okay with the government. That is one I'm having trouble with. I get it.
I agree.
Right, I'm 75. I just got diagnosed with cancer. I really don't want to live for a year and a half in pain and going through chemo. I can understand that. Yeah. The 29-year-old, I have much more difficulty accepting that a society should be like, yeah, this is cool. As in, we've given up all hope on you and it is your choice. Instead of saying, okay, before you do this at 29, here are 5 things you have to do. So if you go through these 5 therapy steps, and they don't work, we'll revisit. But these are programs designed to help people at 29 who are depressed and don't want to live anymore. We go through this process and we see what happens. I don't know if that's an option, but that's a weird little moral line, Mike, that I'm not sure exactly how I feel. Because on one hand, maybe you should be free to decide that at 29. But are there larger implications if a society's like, yeah, it's totally cool. We'll just, if you want to die, doesn't matter what age you are, come on in. See Dr. Kevorkian.
Well, I don't think that's the way it is, because that all sounds depressing. I was waiting for that one. I was like, just come on, Rob. This is teed up, buddy. The shot clock is expiring on this bad boy. The pitch clock is expiring. Okay, so MAID. What's MAID? Is the medical assisted in dying brought to you and your friends by the Canadian diabetics right now are being targeted to do this. Okay. Hold on. Let's clarify here. In no way would I ever endorse or say I'm even giving a thought to the government's ability to encourage somebody to go off themselves or go send Doc Kevorkian over to the hizzy. And never would I endorse anybody in, like what Rob just said, that, oh, she's depressed, so she wants to offer herself, without some sort of, okay, if we're going to set the line at buying a handgun in certain states at 21, why couldn't we do this assisted suicide thing at 30? We set it at 30. And then, with family, whatever family has to sign off, you need 3 family signatures or whatever it is. I mean, there's ways to do it, but I just think that I'm really worried about this whole maid thing, because God knows we would do exactly the same garbage here in this country with our moron politicians. But I think, to me, I think of 2 people that are very dear to me that have this 50-year marriage and this wonderful friendship and this one, and they said, look, when it's time, we just want to go together. We don't want, like those bozos that shot themselves here in Phoenix in the hotel. That couple, remember? I think one of them was a news person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Idiots that left a maid to find out, a housekeeper to come in and see that. Like, what a bunch of selfish a-holes.
Mhm.
But I would rather have, like, hey, listen, we're just going to do this. It's going to be a family party. And I think, something, guys, when you talk about maid, I'm sorry to monologue, Robbie, but it was in Canada. Okay. Basically, the Chuck Norris of the outdoor world is named Jim Shockey. Jim Shockey is it. Animals just die in front of him because they just know, okay, it's over. It's fine. Other animals come to field dress in front of him, just in honor of the man. He really is. And
the lion presented himself to Jim Shockley and
yes.
went to Dr. Kevorkian and took his own life.
But here's the deal, though. So his wife of, I think, 40 years, stunning woman, amazing woman in every single way. I mean, she had terminal cancer. And I mean, she went down like whittled. Like, you remember Steve Jobs at the end was like, I mean, that's what she looked like. And it was, I kept reading on social media, all these posts from her daughter. I was lucky enough to have on the show and talk about hot girl privilege. Holy cow. His mom was just as beautiful, beautiful, beautiful woman. But I seen on social media, this, we're going to say goodbye to mom. What do you mean you're going to say goodbye to mom? You guys get to go do that? Yeah. And then like the next day it was, okay, she passed. So it's probably part of that program because it is in Canada, and that would all make sense. I didn't know that it was. I didn't know that it was legal in Canada. I had no idea.
Well, and it's interesting too, because even to Grizz's point, right? You're free to choose. You can take your own life if you want. There are many different ways to do it. No one's, at least legally, it's maybe against the law, but it doesn't mean it stops from happening. So you're technically free to choose. It's just the ways that are available are violent and horrible and really,
and don't work all the time, y'all.
Exactly.
How you saw what you saw with that firearm on TV is not really how it goes, y'all. And I'm even joking. Our friends in the Pinal County Sheriff's Department have story after story of people that tried when their house was surrounded, and then they spent months in the hospital. I just
one story in particular that they told. It didn't work. Used the firearm. It didn't work.
It didn't work.
The person comes running out like a chicken with half their face missing.
Yeah.
Yep. That's. But it's a tricky thing, right? And to go back to Greg's point about Canada in the maid, and Val, you brought that up, right? Especially the part about the diabetics, because here's a stat: Canada, all funding for healthcare is government, except for private entities, which are different. We have the same issue. 5% of Americans are responsible for 50% of the healthcare costs, mostly because of diabetes. So in Canada, what it sounds like is, well, this is really expensive and you're going to die anyways. Let's expedite the process because you're too expensive for the taxpayers of Canada. So we're going to euthanize you. That's a whole other ethical conversation to have. In really, when governments become socialist and have that much power, they can do things like that. They can essentially say, well, your life is no longer worth it, so we're just going to usher you into this program and kill you 2 years early. That's weird.
Don't even think that, but don't think that's nothing America hasn't done before.
About the death penalty.
We did forced sterilization. Do you remember this? I think 17,000 Americans were forced sterilized because we just didn't want them breeding anymore. So what would take from a nation? By the way, the Supreme Court held that up. The Supreme Court held the state's right to force sterilize. I forget what it was called. Something, I think, Buck, Rob, if you're looking it up right now. I think Buck is one of the names in the case. But yeah, forced sterilization, Supreme Court, it'll pop up. And so anyway, so what would think if we had this kind of government funded euthanization program? I think that would be, I wouldn't be surprised to see it go wrong. I'm a states' rights guy, so I just think that it should be, what was it, bud?
Buck versus Bell. Good
Buck
memory.
versus Bell, yeah. And so I think that I know I would be a great attorney if I didn't have to memorize a bunch of crap. Anyway, I forgot. So if it becomes a state right, I think it should be, and certain states should allow it, and we should just move on. And if you don't agree with how that state's running it, that's fine. And if you want to participate in the program, find a state that works for you and the way you want to go through all the hoops and jump through all the hoops, do it.
Although it's interesting because, and this business that we're in and talking about, you're expected to have an opinion about everything, a moral quandary about everything. But at the end of the day, if it's legal, it doesn't really matter if it's allowed or not, unless I'm going to do it. So if other people get to choose that, isn't that going back to that concept of freedom? And that's what I always argue about, the right to life or abortion or whatever. I'm like, why do my views get to become the law that restricts someone else that has a entirely different belief system from believing what they want? Because the whole point of America is that, yeah, you can, so long as you're not causing harm. Now, it does get into harm and the intricacies of that, and whether or not a government can protect that, I don't know. But all I know is that there are many different belief systems in America. And it's not for me to say mine is right, like I'm Stalin, and I get to make the laws because I'm the king, and because you tick me off, I'm going to make that illegal. That, to me, that's that slippery slope, Mike, where one ideology tries to implant themselves in a law to make their beliefs legal. And if you don't agree, well, you're going to jail.
I was listening to most of that, but mostly my mind was going to who would I have come over for my last meal if I was going to do the Kevorkian thing. I'm sorry, buddy. I was like, Rob doesn't cook though, but I'm sure he knows somebody who makes a badass something. I think Rob and I are lucky enough to know enough chefs and really good people that would bring amazing stuff. But I like the potluck idea. Everybody just bring what they think my last meal should be. So don't invite people that don't like me.
That's true.
Yeah.
Here's that casserole.
Yeah. It's your turd burger. Thanks, Bruce. No, anyway. I know. But okay, so I do believe, death panels, the thing, Greg, is a thing. And that's why it was a very, I think, prudent question during the Obama days when that was going on. Oh, if your grandma needs a hip replacement, why not tell her, take a pill. Take a pill.
It's fine.
Yeah. What I didn't ask you, Barry, was what pill you were having her take. No, not a pain pill. A cyanide pill. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But see, this is it. But that to me is that more motivation, and COVID really accelerated this. One of my life goals is to stay out of the medical system. So how do I stay healthy enough to not have to rely on a hospital system that really doesn't seem to want to take care of me? Now, Mike knows this better than anybody. What hospitals in American healthcare is great at is trauma. Phenomenal. Best in the world. If you get hit in the head with a rock like Mike did, boom, we're going to take care of you. We're going to make sure that we do what we need to do. We have expertise in that. What our medical system is not great at is saying someone who is obese and is at life-threatening stages of obesity, we're not great about getting that person healthy. Now, granted, that's an individual choice, and it's very difficult because if you put 7 people in front of a doctor and said, you're going to die unless you change your behavior, only one of them will actually change their behavior. 6 of them will just continue on because it's what they've known for.
I don't want to.
And it's hard to change. It is hard to change. And that's another part about the medical industry, that it doesn't help people change because it's not a supportive system. It's a go to the doctor. You're diagnosed with this. We'll see in 3 months, 6 months, a year. They don't say, okay, here's what we're going to do over the next 3 months is every week we're going to check in with you and we're going to hold you accountable to yourself so that you can live a healthier life. That's not what the system's designed to do.
No, it's like the soda tax and all that crap that which the government tries to get in and try to make us healthier. And again, if you want to make America do something, tell them they can't do it. Yeah, we do not like to be told what we can and cannot do.
It's true.
You need to lose weight. Shut up. I'm an American.
I'm going to gain weight.
I'm going to McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
taking a second on the house and going to McDonald's.
No kidding.
Good Lord. That's worse. I mean, basically the fast food industry is probably doing the best for America right now. Except when you see those signs that say "We take SNAP," because that's just insulting that we as a nation are subsidizing their obesity and diabetes.
Especially at these prices.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about.
Goodness.
I know, man. Current toxicology report. Oh yeah, losing drugs. Yeah. Oh yeah. I was actually talking to a young person that does a lot of I'll say what it is, smokes a lot of weed. I was like, the government doesn't even. I mean, I'm sorry, the employees aren't even checking for that anymore.
You're not talking about me.
I'm not talking about you pothead. I'm from Long Beach, so y'all just full disclosure. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And now that I'm old, I take one hit, edible, anything. I'm out. I'm blown away by people that can smoke weed and like hang out.
All right.
Like and just be chill. I am gone. Done. So, but anyway, and as I was saying, as you're looking for a job, the employers aren't even testing for that anymore. So talking about toxicology is what you said, Greg. You're talking about that for the debates, but I mean, y'all, it's where the world's changing in that regard, and when we start to understand or start to look into, the medicinal benefits, especially like chemo, the chemo pain relief and things like that, or just me and my broken skull. This is going to be just. We're not too far away from not having to go to a dispensary to get your edibles and stuff like that. We're pretty damn close to going to Walgreens.
Yeah, and it's like a merging of convenience and alternative methods of dealing with health challenges. And Grizz, I hear you, man. It is
bro.
Hard.
Yeah, well, we hear you.
Mine is on a mental side, right? Like I had real challenges altering the way my mind was working because it was so negative. And it took me to the point where I had to figure out a goal and how to hold myself accountable, which I actually hired people to help me stay accountable to myself. And sometimes that's challenging monetarily. And sometimes I took a risk on doing it, trying to be like, oh, I'm going to figure out how to make this money because I knew I had to change. So I had to take measures beyond me to help me change. So I don't know if that helps you, Grizz. It's just looking outside where you're at and saying, okay, who or what could help me get to my goals? And it's okay to seek help because trying to do everything by yourself is hard. Trying to build a business by yourself is hard. Trying to build this radio/streaming program on our own. It's obviously the harder path that Mike and I have chosen here because we don't have a built-in platform like radio, just blow it out there. But it's worth it to do. And we're holding ourselves accountable by showing up here every day as you guys are showing up with us every day.
And for Rob, it was a mental challenge. For me, it's a calendar challenge because every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. So that's really every Friday's happy hour. Guys, it's a calendar issue. It just really is. It's not my fault. Okay. It's not my fault. I have this 210-pound dad bod. Not my fault. It's the calendar's fault. Damn it.
Which, by the way, we may have some workout programs available for you through us.
Heck yeah, man.
Soon.
Yeah.
We'll keep you updated.
Greg, we'll hit this we got to dip out of that, but you did ask a question, so I'm gonna go with it. The drug legalization and Rob is the House Libertarian. I'm a libertarian leaning conservative. I think that the bad drugs that we say, like, oh, the black tar heroin and stuff, you can't legalize that. What's fentanyl? What's Oxycontin? What's the stuff that is legal but given to you by a doctor? I don't really see a lot of difference in. I am a huge supporter of legalization of marijuana nationwide, 100%. Just let it go. Like I said, get it at CVS, get it at Walgreens. If I can get beer, if I can get vodka, if I can get tequila, and have it impact my body the same way, that's my opinion. Rob, you have the floor.
I'm a little mixed on this because I don't think people should go to jail for using drugs. I think that's ridiculous. If you're a heroin dealer, different story, right? So I think the punishment aspects should be addressed. Because if you get to the point where you're doing heroin, there you got some challenges, right? We need to treat it as a challenge, not as a legal thing. We need to treat it like real adults and say, wow, you know what? It kind of is our fault because the FDA allowed these drugs, and the Sackler family, which put the first opioids out, knew it had the same properties of heroin, but we did it anyways. People got addicted. So it's treating that addiction and those drug challenges like the challenges that they are, not just, well, if we just lock them up, it'll go away. Drug usage rates have stayed the same since the war on drugs began. And that was in 1971.
Drugs won.
Drugs won. So it's time to be realistic and say, people are going to do some drugs. Can't stop them from doing drugs. It's what you do after they do the drugs. Are there enough treatment programs? Are there enough effective ways to help people? Because obviously the answer is not what Portland, Oregon tried to do. And they just decriminalized everything. And then people just shooting up heroin in the street.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, maybe decriminalizing is not the right approach because, again, that's only the one part of it. Decriminalize it. Yes, but now what?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you see, Wiener Wednesday and casserole Thursday. Casserole with the damn casserole. That would actually make me lose weight. That would make me lose weight. I'm not eating that. That's garbage.
My waist loss
So
strategy is to cook a casserole every day.
But the pharmacy, cook that same casserole. It is awful. The pharmaceutical companies understand that. Once I think this nation understands the pharmaceutical company, the entire industry, the industrial complex it has become, has never been our friends. If you want to talk about original sin, look into the histories of the pharmaceutical companies. The FDA is not your friend.
No,
they're not. They're drug dealers. They're legal drug dealers. I would check this out. Bayer Aspirin, the Bayer family, Bayer Pharmaceuticals would buy human beings from Adolf Hitler, 200 at a clip for their trials, 200 a piece. Bayer Aspirin. Not playing, guys. Like the sooner we realize, and this goes back to that, like what was that called? I'm a Republictarian. I love it. But which is true. So I love the way to put it. But to think about, should we legalize all drugs or just use the government's drugs that we get to use from the pharmaceutical companies? Why don't we look into where all of it? I mean, the cartels don't have anything on the pharmaceutical biz. They don't.
No.
I mean, the pharmaceutical, this shadiness, evil, pure evil by the pharmaceutical company rivals and there's no cartel could rival that.
It's all about the money.
Period.
And the big difference is the cartels don't have lobbyists that are paid for that go lobby politicians. And cartels, but they don't directly contribute to politician campaigns. The FDA and the other thing too, the NIH. One of the days you were out, Mike, when you were in Mexico, it was revealed that I can't remember the time frame, but NIH scientists have gotten $710 million in kickbacks from drug companies. And these are the people that approve the drugs, that funnel the funding to the drugs through this FDA, right? NIH, FDA. It's a vicious money-making cycle for everybody, and you're paying the bill.
Yeah. And by the way, I remember St. Fauci saying that when he was asked, he's like, so what kind of kickbacks, or is it required to the FDA scientists and the NIH scientists, is it required for them to disclose their kickbacks? He said, no. No.
All
of them on the take. Now, I remember the three when they were doing the trials. They were doing the trials for the COVID jab for kids, and the three panelists of the FDA that just said that, like, these guys are on the take, dude. We're out of here. There's no science going on here. These guys are all in profit motive. We're gone, and they stood on principle, and they did that. They took the plunge. Yep. All right, team. All right, guys. Hey, listen, have a fun weekend. Kind of clear your mind. At least pick one day to tune out and away from all the business, all the, Fox News, CNN, even the headlines, the alerts on your phone. Just tune out. Maybe just go outside early morning. Maybe just watch the sunrise, things like that. Just really get back with, and I can say that because Rob and I have done that in the past few months, and it's absolutely life-changing and life-altering, even though, like Rob said, we're small business owners, so we're dumb. But yeah, so thank you, Greg. Thank you, Lynn, Grizz, everybody. Jay, you guys are the best. We just love having you around, and we love you guys are liking this out, sharing it out, letting the world know that we're doing this every day at noon. So we'll see you Monday at noon right here on Russell Hunters. In other news, have a great weekend, everybody.